What is going on, guys? Megas here on a beautiful day in Asha. If you're brand new to the channel, we're Zoroastrians. We are the Magi. And have you noticed this? The more awakened you are, the more truth you get and hold and understand, the more ridiculous and absurd the lie and illusion is. Can I ask you guys to do me a favor real quick, please? Hit that like button. It really does help us with that algorithm. And I want to get this message to the world. The world needs the original monotheistic religion, the religion of the Magi. They need the truth. Hey, can I share something with you? I'm going to entitle this video, The Best and the Worst. And I want to share with you the worst things I've ever read and the best things I've ever read. And this is what is going to blow your mind. And please stay for this. You got to see this. I'm going to start with the worst first. I'm sitting in my favorite place in the world here in my library. And you know, a lot of these books have some bad stories in them. But you know what? They all let you know that that's a bad thing. They never say it's a good thing. They never call it God. They're trying to get you to always reach for better. And the Bible and the Qurans and those books are the only ones that have stories like Jephthah that went in, killed men, women, and children, and they called that God. Then he came back and he sacrificed his daughter as a burnt offering to Jehovah, and they celebrated him for thousands of years. None of these books that a lot of people, as a matter of fact, some of them were banned back in history. None of them would say that's good. But they call that the good book. They say that was written by God. And that upsets me beyond belief, where I had to come on late at night and make another video because I'm thinking someone will hear this and wake up. My friends, one of the worst books I've ever read, story after story. Things that they call justice. None of these other books would call justice. My friends, the story of Joshua and Achan. Achan stole some treasure of Joshua's treasure that he called the Lord's treasure, and he killed Achan's wife and kids. There's no justice to that. No author would call that justice, but they call that God's book. My friends, and you know what? Okay, stay with me, guys. Please hear this. When I was in 9th grade, I read the Bible cover to cover because they said God wrote it. Do you know what I got as a reward for that? OCD. That was my reward. I suffered for years until I was probably in my early 20s. Years, my friends, of living in a hell because I was so scared of what I had read. It was so confusing to my mind that it threw my world upside down. My friends, it's awful. You know, one of the other books, strangely enough, that I really don't like, that I actually threw away, was Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Nietzsche. And you guys know how much I love Zarathustra, but I felt like he just had no idea of what Zarathustra spoke. And the book disgusted me. And I don't talk lightly about books, because I'm an author myself, and I don't like putting them down, because I know we pour our hearts and souls into our work, my friends. So on a more positive note, I want to tell you about a couple of my favorite books. Of course, Asha, we're not even going to talk about that. You guys already know it. I want to talk about Cersei. I just came across this last year, and oh my God, it blew me away. I love beautiful writing. And you could tell that she took such care with how she arranged the words. It's like song. And the very first page, I was hooked. It says, "When I was born, the name for what I was did not exist." I thought that's so poetic. My friend, so beautiful. And then the last sentence of chapter 1, it resonated with me because I felt that before when I was stuck in that hell in my own mind from reading the Bible and getting OCD from a wrong idea of who God is. So Cersei, she grew up amongst the gods. and they were psychopaths. They were narcissistic. They were cruel. Listen to what she says. She says, "Such were my years then. I would like to say that all the while I waited to break out, but the truth is, I'm afraid I might have floated on, believing those dull miseries were all there was until the end of days." She was living in a hell in her own mind. She didn't know there was a better world. She just thought that's how it is. That's how the gods are, right? They get angry, jealous, hate, war, kill men, women, and children, send sickness and disease, plagues, cruel. She didn't think there was anything else. And that, just from the first chapter, it resonated with me so much. If you guys are interested, go to the comments, let me know, and I'd love to dig deeper into this. I'm doing another reread. When I fall in love with a book, I just rip into them and of course, mark them all up and tab them. And then my all-time favorite, The Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde. Oh my gosh. I did such a study on this, being a writer myself, because I never read magic like that. What is the spell Oscar Wilde has put me under with words? I needed to learn it, my friends, and I did. I studied it until I figured out his secret. And I'll tell you what it is. He put his soul into the book. The exact thing he says he warns people not to do is what he did. You see Oscar Wilde in his writings. And then as you go on to read all of his other amazing works, you just see it. You see him in the writings. And I hope that with my books, I hope you see Magus in Asha and in Still Pools of the Mind and in Gold, Frankincense, and Myrrh. I hope you feel my soul. I hope it lives on. I hope my words live in your heart and mind, my friends. So those are some of my best books ever and a couple of my worst books ever. And is that amazing? A book could give someone OCD that they consider a disease, that they call a good book. And books that a lot of people don't like. I've had people leave me because I'm a huge Oscar Wilde fan. They've unsubscribed from my channel because they don't like Oscar Wilde. But you know what? He never gave me OCD, my friends. Hey, who's still with me? 7 minutes, 30 seconds in. I always love to do that, and I watch to see who really is a fan of Magus, who really is with me and loves me. I'm going to read just the first page of my favorite book to you guys because it means so much to me, and I guess if it means something to me, it means something to you. The studio was filled with a rich odor of roses. And when the light summer wind stirred amidst the trees of the garden, there came through the open door the heavy scent of the lilac, or the more delicate perfume of the pink flowering thorn. And from the corner of the divan of Persian saddlebags on which he was lying, smoking as was his custom innumerable cigarettes, Lord Henry Wotton could just catch the gleam of the honey-sweet and honey-colored blossoms of a laburnum, whose tremulous branches seemed hardly able to bear the burden of a beauty so flame-like as theirs. And now and then the fantastic shadows of birds in flight flitted across the long tussore silk curtains that were stretched in front of the huge window, producing a kind of momentary Japanese effect and making him think of those pallid jade-faced painters of Tokyo who, through the medium of an art that is necessarily immobile, seek to convey the sense of swiftness and motion. The sullen murmur of the bees shouldering their way through the long unmowed grass, or circling with monotonous insistence round the dusty gilt horns of the straggling woodbine, seemed to make the stillness more oppressive. The dim roar of London was like the burdened note of a distant organ. In the center of the room, clamped to an upright easel, stood the full-length portrait of a young man of extraordinary personal beauty, and in front of it, some little distance away, was sitting the artist himself, Basil Hallward. Oh, I love those words so much. And all my favorites that were just beauty, I put the pink tabs to. And then some of the things that just blew me away, I put like the orange tabs to. You guys want me to read some more? Listen to this. See if this doesn't blow your mind. It says, if thought could exercise its influence upon a living organism, might not thought exercise an influence upon dead and inorganic things? Nay, without thought or conscious desire, might not things external to ourselves vibrate in unison with our moods and passions, Adam calling to Adam in secret love or strange affinity? And my friends, that's the magic of the words in his book. You know, the very first time I read this, I remember waking up in the middle of the night. And it's like 2, 3 in the morning. It was like I was in love. I couldn't wait for the sun to come up, and I wanted to read more and get back into it. And I've read this over and over. I don't know if you can tell, but the cover is just falling apart on it. And what he's talking about is you put an energy, an essence into not only living organisms like people, but into even things like books that I hope you, and I know you do, you sense with Asha. My friends, there's a living word, soul, life in this little orange book. And you know, as I was talking about, the Bible gave me OCD. Think how many testimonies I've gotten from you guys from writing this tiny little book and putting that spirit of truth in it, that you've been healed from OCD and depression and many, many other things. The power of books. My friends, it's amazing. What do you guys think of Magus with no beard? Oh my God. You want to see something funny? When you leave this, go Google naked mole rat and then feel really bad for laughing at me. I joke. I laughed my butt off when I saw that picture that you guys sent me. All right. I love you guys so much. Who's still with me? 12 minutes in. Go to the comments. Tell me. And know I love you.